right, so a couple months ago, I showcased my NBA 75th anniversary team patch collection. As you might have seen in that video, I had prime cards for 60 out of the 76 guys. And mind you, I've been collecting Hall of Fame patches before that team was even constructed. Anyway, I talked a little bit about each card, some things I liked, maybe how I got it, and I left it at that. One thing I didn't really dive into, however, was price. And that's not something I really talk about much on the channel at all, but I thought it might be interesting to revisit that video and look at the costs that go into a collection like this one, because when I totaled things up, I was really surprised by how much I had spent over time. I'm going to include a counter here as I go, and then at the end I'm going to wrap things up and give an average price per card. All right, let's go ahead and start with this Kareem patch, which I got probably over a decade ago for $100. I thought that was kind of high at the time. I would say I'm all right with that now. Next up is this Ray Allen patch, which I traded for, and I think we valued it at about $30. So that's kind of how I'm valuing it here. And I think that's kind of what it's worth now. This Giannis patch I was able to purchase during the pandemic for $138. But then this Carmelo cost me $12 on COMC. That was a buy from way back in the day. It's nice to have ones like that because this next one is going to kill the averages. This tiny Archibald patch tag cost me $985. I think I'd sold some stuff at the time, so I could justify that. But then the Barkley cost me $0. That was a gift. Rick Barry here cost me $67. And then this Jumbo Elgin Baylor patch cost me $400. I've had that one for a while, and that brings our total now to $1,732. So it is already adding up here. We just got into the B's, but you know, it is what it is. Next up, we've got this Larry Bird patch. That cost me $100. That's part of a set chase that I'm doing. And then the card that came after that is a Kobe Bryant patch that I got in a trade at a card show. I traded a 1967 Mickey Mantle. I think we valued that at $400, and then the dealer had to have $20 cash. So I put $420 value on that Kobe. This Wilt Chamberlain, it cost me $135. Next up, we've got Dave Cowens here. That cost me $25. I'm thankful for some of these cheaper ones. This Steph Curry here, I really like this card. It cost me $350. I think it's a good deal. I'm still very happy with that card for the value. After this, we've got a Clyde Drexler patch. It's another patch in the set that I'm chasing. That one was $75. This Tim Duncan here, this was a steal. This was a NBA Finals patch for $85. This next one, this is a Kevin Durant Christmas Day patch from the shorts. It's $102. So now we have just crossed the $3,000 threshold. So like I said, that stuff is kind of adding up, but hey, at least we're in the letter E's now. So we've got Julius Erving here. That was a buy long ago, probably around when that product came out. I got that for $52. This Patrick Ewing here, that was $65. One of the more unique Ewing patches I've seen, although I talked about that on the other video. I guess this one's just more about pricing here. Next up, you're going to see a Walt Frazier tag, and this is an unlicensed card, but I spent $160 on it just because I really like that tag. So it just goes to show, you know, I'll spend up if I think that the material necessitates that. All right, I left this Garnett in here, but I actually moved this at the National, so I don't have this one anymore. So I'm going to have to take this card out of the averages and everything. And the reason I moved it, I've got a couple Garnetts in sets that I'm working on that I'm trying to get. So that's going to be a goal of mine. This George Gervin I traded for, but I put it at $100 is the card that I traded for it. Hal Greer here, that was a $34 purchase. Havlicek, I got this at a show for $175. Iverson, I actually put $0 for this, and it's complicated because I bought the Logo Man piece for $100, and I paid for the autograph like $170, but then I sold the card that came with the Logo Man for more than that, so I actually kind of made money on it, but I just put $0. All right, LeBron James, this one was $630. That was another pandemic buy that I'm very happy with. No complaints about that one now, even though that one is one that will definitely bring those averages up. Next up, Magic Johnson. That was a $65 card. Probably about the range that you can still get some Magic patches in now. Sam Jones here. That's a tough patch. That one cost me $200, but very happy with that. Michael Jordan, this is one of the G-Gum patches. I got this one for $35. Yeah, one of the cheaper ones in the video here is Michael Jordan. I think people just aren't too enthusiastic about that G-Gum program. I don't have a problem with it, though. Okay, Jason Kidd, this was an $11 card. Can't beat that. Kawhi Leonard, this is a Christmas Day Shorts relic. That was $405. Next up, we've got Damian Lillard. This is a game-dated stat line patch. That was $30 on ComC back in the day. It's been a while. After that, we're going to have a Jerry Lucas patch. You might remember I bought that at one of the Indiana shows here. I showed it on the channel. I got that for $80. And then this Karl Malone I got for $30. Continuing with the Malones here, we've got Moses Malone. That was a $65 patch. And then one of my better buys here coming up, this Pete Maravich was $130. And probably not going to get a Pete patch like that for that now. So once again, this just goes to show, you're buying these over a long period of time, and you do get some breaks along the way. This Kevin McHale, $20. I've had that since probably like 2005. So that one has been in the collection for a while now. I doubt it's worth much more than that, but that's one that's definitely going to stay in that collection for a long time. This George Mikan card cost me $100. That's another one that I'm glad I grabbed that early on. That stuff's gone up over time. This Reggie Miller was $425. Earl Monroe, I got a good deal from a friend on this. It was $20. Should have cost me more than that, but he was very generous. So thank you once again for that. Steve Nash here, this one cost me $60. So now we are almost at the $6,000 range, as you're going to see on the counter. So things are really starting to add up. This Dirk here was $74. Next up, we've got a Shaquille O'Neal. This is one of my favorite cards, actually. A Shaq Celtics patch was $40. Now, that was obviously very long ago. Robert Parrish here, this jumbo patch. I got that for $25. So, like I said, we've crossed over that $6,000 threshold, and we're still moving. So that was a $25 card. We've got a Chris Paul patch coming up here. That was also a $25 card. That was at a show. I feel like I got a really good deal on that, though. I think even when I bought that, it's probably worth around $75. Gary Payton was $24. Very happy with that. Paul Pierce I bought recently. That one was $40. I bought that off of one of my friends. And then we've got this dual card here. This is my Willis Reed patch. Willis Reed patches are kind of hard to come by. And I thought I paid more for it. I looked back at my ComC receipts, though. This was $80. So very happy with this card for $80. I am definitely not going to complain about that. The next one I probably overpaid for during the pandemic. Saw it at a show. It was $225. Yikes. That's going to bring the average up here. This Rodman, though, that'll kind of bring it down. It was a $35 card. That was another card show purchase. I'm very happy with that. Now, granted, that was back in like 2017, so it felt kind of high at the time, but I really like the combination of the patch and the parallel and everything. This Bill Russell here, I actually have the Prime version. I grabbed the wrong one. So for the Prime version, I paid $210. It's very difficult to find Russell Prime pieces, especially ones that aren't like Upper Deck and have like amazing autographs. So happy with that. John Stockton here. This warm-up card was $51. You can get the other versions for a little bit cheaper, but I like that one. Isaiah Thomas, $24. Nate Thurman, this one was $32. Kind of hard to find chunky patches for him. Wes Unseld was $28. That's actually the only player worn card in this whole batch here. And I talked about that in the first video. You can see me pointing to it here. I'm not going to go into all of that. Next up, we've got an NBA Finals patch of Dwayne Wade. That one cost me $75, but I've had that one for a very long time. This Bill Walton here, that was a gift from a friend, so $0. Thankfully, that's helping our counter a little bit. Jerry West here, that was a $65 patch. Russell Westbrook, this jumbo here, $17. Only $17 for this one. Really can't argue with that. Rounding things out here, we've got 2 cards left. This Dominique Wilkins patch that you're going to see here, that was $43. Actually has a piece of the 50th anniversary logo man. And then very last card here is going to be a flawless patch. we'll see it here shortly, of James Worthy, and that one cost me $71. All right, so as you can see, the grand total here is $7,100. There were 59 cards total because remember, I removed the Garnett, meaning all of these averaged out to $120 a card. And you know, that's not too bad considering there's a LeBron Finals relic, a Steph Curry patch auto, and so on. I mean, these are all the best players to ever play the game. The bigger point I wanted to emphasize once again, though, I've been building this collection for over a decade now, and really longer than that. Like I said, I think I bought that McHale patch in like 2005. So you can set lofty collecting goals and give yourself a long time to get there, and you can go about it in different ways as well. As I mentioned, even though I put purchase values on all of these, I traded for some of these cards along the way. So if you take one thing from this video today, remember this: it's okay to pace yourself when you're building a collection, set parameters, stay within your means, and you might just surprise yourself with what you manage to amass over time. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.